Good morning, Tallahassee. It's time to wake up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi and Corey Clark.
Welcome into the program, Tuesday edition of Wake Up War Chant. I'm Aslan. He is Corey Clark. Thanks for being here, folks. The show brought to you by For the Table Hospitality and their 3 rockin' locations over in the College Town District, Central, Madison Social, and Township. Go ahead, check them on out. No, you will not be disappointed. You're here, man. Good grief, man.
I am here. I made it.
You could use a nap, couldn't you?
Yeah. It's been a crazy few days. Driving to Atlanta to see the sun for literally a couple hours, and then the sun is in my son,
your offspring,
my child. Not the sun is in the thing that we see in the sky.
Didn't get to see a lot of that if you're in Tallahassee yesterday. It was just raining.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Any of my drive was very great. So yeah, it was a long drive getting back. But I'm back. I made it. I'm happy. Back in the 850.
Yeah, you were talking about, hey, listen, I'm gonna hang out with my son. Can we push things back? And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, it's fine. Just pop you up on the computer. We'll do what we always do. And then, sure enough, I pull into the parking lot, and you're here.
Oh, you thought it was going to be that?
Yeah.
No, I'm here, buddy. I'm here for you, always.
Good to see you, man. How was Nashville? Did you like it a lot? You're good at working in the business and the pleasure and mixing in a nice balance of the two.
I figure I'm in Nashville, right? I come here. I go there every 6 years, apparently, with this basketball team. And yeah, man, it's a cool city. I'm not a huge country music fan, but the songs they play. Well, I was with Tim too, Tim Linnefelt, who works at Seminoles.com. So if there was a song played that I didn't know, he could tell me who it was because he's like a music savant. But then they'd play some rock, So it was fun. It was good. It was a good time. I like live music, and I like Mick Ultras, and they were both readily available on Broadway in Nashville.
But you won't be continuing this journey.
I will not. No.
This is where it ends for you.
It is, unless we can all reconvene in San Antonio next week. But no, it'll be Ira making the trip out to L.A. for the Sweet 16, which we worked out ahead of time, by the way. He said, you can take the Nashville trip. If they win there, I'll go to L.A. Obviously, we both laughed at that notion that would even be necessary. And then, I guess it was late Sunday night, right after the game, he said, Gene was trying to book the flight, and he's like, Would you be upset if I went? Would you rather me go, or do you want to go? Would that upset you? And I'm like, man, that would not upset me in the least. Go fly to Los Angeles.
No one thought about throwing the young buck out there, letting the wild stallion roam free in Los Angeles?
Spring practice, buddy. We need your video skills back here. Again, though, we'll go to San Antonio if Florida State's there. Florida State just has to win 2 more games.
We just want to go out there. We just want to get better. I just want to see effort and execution. And we're just going to go out there and
we're actually going to get to see practice, though, apparently. The first 2 practices are open to the public, if people didn't know that, so which is kind of cool. So we'll actually get to see some practices. I hope they got the music playing and, go from there. One of those practices, I think, will be, 7 hours after the basketball game ends on Thursday night, so that'll be
killer.
A bit of a challenge. But other than that, it should be a good time.
Still think and not me personally, but the people who hold cameras, we're still going to be limited. I think we're still only going to be able to film warm-ups and stretching.
You're a lot more than a camera holder. Come on,
I'm just saying
the
people that don't hold the recorders and write the creative stories.
Sure, but you host a daily radio show, and this is going to be plenty of fodder for you to talk about. Your keen eye. That sounded sarcastic. I didn't mean for it to sound sarcastic. No, I'm not. I wasn't.
Okay.
Your keen eye. You played football, or you know football. Most everything I say sounds sarcastic, even when it isn't, and that wasn't being sarcastic.
How many, that doesn't sound like did that get you?
Did that sound sarcastic?
No, that sounds sincere. I'm just imagining.
Because I was being sarcastic there.
Jeez. My mind is blown right now. Yeah, I remember back in the Bowden days, I remember trotting over to Doak Campbell because I lived in Indian Village, so I was, practically a stone's throw away from the stadium. So I'd go in there. I remember watching Lorenzo Booker in the spring of 2003 and be like, oh, boy, here's that guy. Here's that guy from St. Bonaventure. Let's go. Oxnard, California, stand up.
I had a feeling he wasn't going to be everything we thought he was when he redshirted. Usually the number 1 player in the country, doesn't, especially in a position like running back, doesn't redshirt.
That was a different time and day, though, man. It was a different era.
I mean, still, he didn't end up being that good. He was okay. He's a nice player. He's a good college player, productive, but he wasn't the best running back in that class.
Leon Washington?
Yeah. And Leon was the one that got on the field first.
Yeah, I won't argue with you on that. But yeah, I mean, so the 2 practices they've announced will be open to the public. Is that correct? Was that what it was, 2 or the first 2?
I thought it was the first 2, which was I thought it said the 21st.
I can pull it up. Don't get your relax, man. You've been on the road all day, man. Don't strain yourself over there.
I think it's the first one on Wednesday and then the second one on Friday.
First 2 practices open to the public. That's what it is. Yeah, the first 2. Yeah, so
Ira complains enough. We get to, squeaky wheel gets the grease.
This, I think, is undermining us. This is undermining the media.
Yeah.
This is simply letting the fans come in and watch,
right,
and then kind of look
eliminating the middleman.
The media's crying about access, and look at this. We're opening the doors for you guys.
Yeah. I think this was.
Go ahead, pull your camera phone out, film some stuff, put it on the internet. But guy from WarChant.com, put the camera down. Put the camera down.
They might. I'll be interesting to see what they do about that if they limit people's ability to record. But I think this was kind of probably going to be the plan all along, from what I gathered. He's done this everywhere he's been. Opened up at least a couple practices in the spring. So I mean, I think that's a cool thing. It's a cool deal, and he's going to talk to us a lot. So that'll be nice.
Fans, you can watch practice from the west, north, and east perimeter of the Al Dunlap practice fields. No fans permitted inside the indoor practice facility. You're not allowed to bring folding chairs either.
What? What about cots?
Stand up, deal with it.
Or hammocks?
I think it's supposed to rain, I think, on Wednesday.
Hey, man,
it's supposed to rain tomorrow.
I can put on a parka.
I don't want to sit out there in the rain. Yeah.
Watch spring practice.
Talk to him before practice starts. So what do you want to accomplish today, Coach?
Yeah.
You want to see some tackling? You want to see some guys make plays? Is that what you want to do, Coach? Is that what coaches want to see right now?
Tackling, maybe some hopping around, bouncing around.
All right, but before we get there, what are you expecting to see later today at Pro Day? Anything? Are we going to see Josh Sweat try to run even faster? Are we going to see Derwin try to jump even higher? Are we going to see tea time shade off maybe a tenth of a second off that awkward 40 he posted in Indianapolis?
I feel like it's a big day for him, just to show that maybe there was stage fright or something with that one, with what he did at Indianapolis. I can't imagine Derwin and Josh Sweat are going to do a lot of combine-type drills. I think they'll be, they could do some position-specific drills, both of them, I think, a lot. But McFadden run the 40, I think, will be the people everything will be the thing everybody will be looking at. And the thing with these things, I don't know how many pro days you went to before, either here when you were a student.
I've never been to a pro day, ever.
People are always trying to time on their
cell phone?
40s. Yeah, and I used to do it all the time just as a joke. I'd be like, I had him at 4.86, and you'd look on NFL Network and it was 4.49 or something. Because who can operate the stopwatch on a cell phone that quickly? So people will be doing that, which is fun. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think all the guys. I don't know how much you can really help yourself in a pro day. I think everybody's got everything on film, and you were at the combine. Maybe somebody like a Wilkerson that didn't get invited to the combine can wow people somehow, but other than that, I don't think much gets accomplished unless somebody like McFadden, number one, has an excuse for why he ran so poorly, and then runs really well later today. I'm sorry.
I could have sworn there was somebody in the not too distant past that went to Indy and had a pretty bad 40, but then came back and ran a good enough 40 in Tallahassee to mend their stock. Maybe it wasn't Tallahassee. Maybe it was somebody.
I think that happens a good bit, but we say mend their stock, but we don't know what their stocks are. We just hear from analysts. But I don't know if you shave a 0.2 of a second off a 40 time.
Do you think Dalvin Cook goes first round if he ran a 4.4 somewhere?
No, I think the reason he didn't go first round was the injury concerns with the shoulder. I think that was the bit. And it turned out the shoulder wasn't the problem. He got unlucky and blew out a knee. But no, because I think when you watch Dalvin Cook on tape, he's plenty fast enough. He never got caught from behind. He ran through and by people. And I don't even know what he ran at, like 4.5 something.
Yeah.
I mean, but on a football field, he's always the fastest guy on the field. in football pads and with a helmet and a ball under his arm. So I don't think it was a speed thing. I think it was a injury concern thing. But I do think you're right.
He ran a 4.49. I thought he ran slower than that. I got destroyed on Twitter when he ran. I think his first one was in the 4.5s. I'm like, well, that's not first round draft. Or that's not first round grade. Destroyed. I don't even know how FSU Twitter found me because I was just some dude in Dothan, Alabama. Destroyed.
I think I retweeted you. I'm just kidding.
No, because you don't follow me.
I do follow you now, don't I?
I don't think so. It's fine. It's
Do I really not?
I haven't lost
Yes,
any
I
sleep
do.
over it.
I don't follow. I do follow you. I'm sure I follow you.
I don't think you do. It's fine, though.
I'm mending that right now.
No, stop it. Don't. I don't need your charity. I don't want your charity.
No, I'm going to do it.
But anyway, so I got destroyed. I mean, all these guys, look at this clown. What do you know, idiot? Another stupid hot take GM wannabe. And I'm like, chill out. I went to the school. I rooted for the guy. Just telling you, I don't think that's going to help him if he wants to go first round.
That's crazy that I don't follow you.
Well, you're limited in. Listen, I don't follow a lot of people. It's really awkward when I bump into people that I used to work with or know, and they're, I mentioned something on Twitter. I'm like, yeah, that's right. I don't follow you, but you follow me.
All right, well, I follow you now, so you're good.
Really?
Yeah, there you go. That's crazy because I see you come up on my timeline, but I think that's War Chant retweeting you sometimes or something.
Probably.
Yeah, so there you go.
All right, well, I'm done, man. That's a wrap on the program. My day is accomplished.
You did
we'll
it,
see
man.
what goes
Before
on at
6:15 in the morning, you got something accomplished.
Hope you all have a nice, easy day as well. That's a joke, but we do need to take a break. We'll come right back and prognosticate a little bit more about the football that's about to occur in the next 48 hours over here in Tallahassee. It's going to be – I'm excited. I'm a little bit – I don't know. I'll talk about it.
There's still a basketball team, too, that we could talk about.
That wouldn't hurt. He's Corey Maslon. It's Wake Up War Chant. We'll be right back after this.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Music make you lose control.
Wake up, War Chant. Say it, Corey.
Wake up.
Your Wake Up War Chant is so much stronger than mine is. That's Corey, obviously. I'm Aslan. Welcome back to the program called Wake Up War Chant, brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. And there are 3 awesome locations over in the College Town District. Probably need to figure out some other way to introduce them instead of the same thing I say every single day. And it's not even like it's a script. I'm not even reading anything off paper. It's just the only thing that my brain feels comfortable saying. But you know the 3 locations. I'll say it one more time, though. Central, Madison Social, and Township. Go ahead, check them out. Check them out. Prosper, eat, be merry, and all that kind of good stuff. So, hey, I got a question. I actually think I have a dinner date tonight if I don't have to end up going and covering the baseball game.
Okay.
Where should I go? Problem is she's pescatarian, which means she's a vegetarian.
What does religion have to do with it?
She's a vegetarian, but she also eats like seafood.
That's called a pescatarian?
Not a, but pescatarian. Yeah, pescatarian.
No, that's what I mean. You're a pescatarian.
Right.
A pescatarian,
Yeah.
That means that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like asexual?
Yeah, right.
Man, so I didn't know that. I guess I've known that was a thing. I think I could be a pescatarian.
Do I just go sushi or something?
I mean, that's a good call. I mean, I don't know if should we give out restaurants with
okay, that's right. Yeah, they don't sponsor us.
I mean, there's a couple. There's some nice. There's a good seafood place downtown.
Okay.
There's a
Check it out though. She's late 20s.
Okay.
All right, so I'm doing good.
Right.
Late 20s. Has a really good job. She probably makes like double what I make, but that's not saying a lot because, we didn't get in this business for the money. We got into it for the passion of the sport.
Right.
Never married, no kids, nothing, man. Clean title.
Have y'all?
I can't screw this up.
Have y'all? Well, sure you can.
Can't screw this
What does
one up.
that mean? Of course, the odds are
probably it,
you are
man.
going to screw this up. What?
Thanks for coaching me up.
Well, I'm just saying you got. I'm just going by history. So is this?
What do you mean you go by history?
Well, I mean you've obviously nothing has stuck yet.
Because I haven't found anyone who checks boxes, man.
But this one does. You feel like
right now? I mean,
How many have y'all talked on the phone yet, or has it just been texting?
Just been texting. It's 2018.
Feels
brother.
good though.
Yeah,
feels good.
Yeah.
Conversation flows.
Yeah.
All right.
See how it goes.
Be something to talk about tomorrow.
Perhaps, yeah. So I don't have any stories to bring you guys back from Nashville for Tinder Tuesday. There is no Tinder Tuesday this week. It might have to be Tinder
I didn't even
Wednesday.
think about you. I guess because Tinder travels.
Oh yeah,
That's the beauty of Tinder. I guess I didn't think about that.
It does, brother, man.
But not in Nashville.
It does in Nashville. If I would have had one more day up there, things would have got pretty good for Daddy over here. But we had to get out of town, hotels, and get back here and get set for the show. And but yeah, no, dude, that's one city. I actually did fairly well. Dude, New Orleans, I love the city of New Orleans, just everything about New Orleans. But that is the one city that I do really, really well out there. It's like Michael
does that
Jordan when
mean?
he plays in Madison Square Garden. Like
You do well.
the
Oh, like
really,
on the
the really good-looking women actually swipe right back on me. It's
in New Orleans.
It's awesome. I feel like the belle of the ball when I go to New Orleans. I'm just like, ooh, like there's no way she's gonna. Oh, she likes me too.
Man, we're not that far apart in age. We're definitely a different generation, though. And I just the kids coming up today, like it's such a different ball game. Like you're going on a date with a woman that you actually have. You seem to have you think there could be something there.
Well, there's like foundational stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
but haven't said one word to her.
correct.
I mean, that's just the crazy age we live in, and it's just going to continue to go more down that path. Like the high school kids, like I would have, and I say this, I'm not lamenting it because I would have loved to live in this age when I was coming up, because the most nerve-wracking thing in the world is to ask somebody face-to-face if they want to go on a date with you.
Oh yeah.
You're shaking, especially when you're like in high school. You don't
Asking
know how
a
to
date out
talk
for
to
prom?
people.
Ugh.
But now you can just text, and if they say no, you could say, "I was just joking."
It's a coward's way. It is. There's it's like you're not battle hardened anymore. Like, society's getting soft. That's one thing that, it's so much easier.
You don't have to. There's no real fear of rejection when it's in a text.
Nope. Just send it out there, trial balloon.
You just send a GIF or something back to them, like okay, or a Forrest Gump GIF or something, and try to make it a joke.
We'll get to sports real quick. The only thing I want to add on that is the thing that I try not to do is I try not to, like, you want to hear somebody's voice, I guess, that helps you kind of generate a better picture of who they might be or whatnot. But I think that the one downside of online dating is that you learn way too much about people way too soon if you don't go on a date quickly. And then it's like, because when you met
mystery. There's no mystery when you actually meet.
It's not
right?
mystery, but just like there's certain things that you discover about people that if you discovered that about a girl or a guy a year into your relationship, you'd be like, all right, well, that's not the best thing in the world, but I can deal with it. But if you learn within a day of knowing them, you're like, that's just, not about that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's things that you can maybe.
No, give me an example.
I don't know. Just, I really don't have a good example, but that doesn't make sense. There's just certain things that you can learn about somebody and make sense over the course of like a year when you get to know them in a better way, and then you won't hold that against them because you have a better picture of who they are. But if you just start going crazy, texting back and forth nonstop for 2 weeks, and it's like, I know like the last 5 boyfriends you've had and what their names have been, what their jobs, and it's just too much too soon kind of a thing. But again, there's foundational stuff that you have to set. Like the table needs to be set, and then you can start ordering the food and bringing everything out. So
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Gonna be a feast.
Yeah, let's hope, man. It's been a long time. Anyhow, all right, let's talk about football. We'll get to basketball later on the program, unless you want to start bouncing the ball right now. I just don't really have a lot to sort of add on Gonzaga. I haven't got down to look at the tape. Haven't been able to reach out to my contacts over there.
I think they're good. I think they're pretty good. They're very well coached.
Yeah. We can look forward, though. The promising thing is you joke with your sarcasm. You're biting, nuanced sarcasm. But you get past Gonzaga, you get Michigan, Texas A&M, the winner of that.
FSU, Texas A&M would be something for a spot in the Final Four.
Ooh, doggy. Literally, doggy.
Doggy. Little doggy.
Reveille
everywhere.
Reveille.
It's hard to even still contemplate Florida State like playing for a spot in the Final Four. It certainly could happen. I'm sure they're underdogs, but not by much.
Why not us?
Yeah, if they play well, they can win. I think more than anything, I'm certainly not expecting them to win 2 games out there. But what happened in Nashville is a foundation, because so many of those guys are coming back. And again, you know what I feel about the NCAA tournament. Like, it's a crapshoot, and it's about matchups. But for just next season, for the regular season, this team is going to be returning almost everyone. It should have a ton of confidence and experience and talent. It should probably be a top 15 preseason team, top 20 preseason team next year.
I don't understand why you want to talk about the future when there's something going on right now, man. What's this whole looking? Listen, 2018-19 season is going to be awesome, but come on, man. 2016, let's go,
they're still. Hey, we're still here. We're still here. They got a chance. They got a. What's the math there? Like a 6% chance of 6.5% chance of getting to winning the whole thing. There's only 16 teams left. It's not improbable. It wouldn't be improbable for them to win out there. They're not. Gonzaga's weirdly to say, Gonzaga's a blue blood, and they just were in the national championship game, and they have a lot of experience and a lot of tournament experience. But Florida State won't be overwhelmed by that talent, and they wouldn't be overwhelmed by either of those two teams that they might play next if they beat Gonzaga. It's not a scary bracket.
No, not at all.
But if you play like always, if you play well, you're probably going to win. If you don't play well, you're going to lose. That's basketball.
Gosh, they couldn't have been on the side.
Oh, it'd be nice if they
Kentucky
were.
is.
Yeah, they're playing Kansas State.
Gosh, man.
And then Loyola, Chicago, or Nevada.
Yeah, like good grief. Here's my thing. The skeptic in me will say that I think there was a bit of I don't think we really touched on it too much, but Florida State had a little bit slight advantage in terms of that matchup with Xavier, and the fact that I don't think they had to really re-scout Xavier much. You know, what they played against last year was mainly what they brought back intact this time around,
right.
Whereas Xavier had to really go back to the drawing board, and there's no Jonathan. I mean, your first three scoring options.
It was a whole different team they were playing.
Yeah.
Xavier. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that benefited them. But ultimately, I mean, how much of that that wasn't knowing tendencies, man. That was onions and guts, and not to be like total, layup cliche nonsense. But listen, when you're down 12 with 10 minutes left in the second half against the 1 seed pretty much on the road, and you bow up and you go back out there and you find a way to, I mean, that carries you over no matter who you're playing. That's not a scouting report. That's your makeup. That's your identity.
Yeah, and we've said it a lot. They're a pretty tough team, and they do punch back a good bit. You don't want to keep getting in double-digit holes. But yeah, man, I would think just going out there, I mean, play like you got nothing to lose, because you don't. You're in the Sweet 16. You've already accomplished a lot. Don't get tight now, because there's no reason to get tight. Just go enjoy the moment. And if you're in the game with the final 5 minutes, go win the thing. But just enjoy the moment. Enjoy, because this is a building block. It's a program that's still building. But man, these are how you build programs, is moments like this. Jimbo, people always made fun of Jimbo because he got so excited about that
2012 season.
The 2012 ACC title. But he was right in the sense that you got to learn how to win championships before you can win the championship. Well, the Florida State basketball program has to learn how to play well in big games before they become a big game team. And I think that's what this past weekend in Nashville was. They played as well as they played all year when it mattered the most. That's something to build on no matter what happens out in California, in my opinion. At the same time, hey, man, you're out there. Why not you? You're talented. You shoot well. You can win. Go play well.
And remember this when Florida State's up by 4 with 1:46 left and maybe lose the game, right? And that's the thing, because you can sit here and talk about, listen, no matter what happens, really though, legitimately, no matter what happens out there, what a success the season has been, not only to build towards next year, but just.
Because this was a rebuilding year. Next year was the year they were pointing towards.
But it's like when you get this far, and you're,
Well, and that was the thing when they got there last time. They were so close to VCU. They had a 1-point lead with 8 seconds left, and they couldn't get that one last stop. When you get that close to the Elite Eight, man, that makes it more painful, especially because you never know when you're going to get back. And that was 7 years ago they were in the Sweet 16.
And the cool thing, too, is you had a guy like P.J. Savoy who hit the, game-clinching shot, a guy that, I don't know, what is he, 4th? 5th option, maybe? Overall on that entire team. No matter who Leonard's rolling out there.
He's probably the 6th leading scorer, maybe.
So a guy like that steps up and makes plays. We feel like Kevin Gilly is just growing every single game. And
he has a chance to be scary good.
Yeah, there's no beginner's luck going on with him. And then this sounds really weird, but you got a guy like MJ Walker who's been struggling mightily, and you just feel like
imagine if you got anything from him.
And it's bound to happen. Again, I hate to do like a cliche, just, gut instinct sort of a thing. No science behind it, but just a guy that talented is not going to struggle this long. Eventually it's got to break towards his side. And then, he can pick up a guy that might not have the best game. Like Brian Angola, I think, was the leading scorer the other night, but it wasn't anything like that, like outwardly impressive. They're winning these games, and they're just figuring out a way to get it done through 40 minutes, man. I don't know.
Yeah, they had 5 guys.
In
2 games, the most points anybody on the team scored was Angola had 16. Yeah. Kabengele led them the game before with 14. But that's what this team does. A lot of guys that scored 10. It's not a bad place to be. And again, next year, MJ Walker, if he takes that next step, because I think Forrest and Kabengele definitely will, man, you got to, it could be like another 24-25 win team. Or they could go 8-30.
Strong core like Jack LaLanne.
Yeah, strong core. Exactly right.
Strong core
Didn't he die on a jog?
probably when he was like 95 years old and able to bench press more than you and I combined.
Still.
Show respect, man.
Sorry, my bad.
Also, folks, reminder, it's Gonzaga.
What am I saying, Gonzaga?
No, you've been fine. Just don't be the guy who says Gonzaga. It's Gonzaga.
Well, it's Xavier, too, but then...
Well, I'm just letting you guys know the right way. I'm not saying it makes sense. I just want you guys,
it's Gonzaga,
our friends, to sound educated. It's Gonzaga.
Yeah, because they call
the
the Zags. Okay, gotcha.
It's Gonzaga.
Okay.
It's Nevada. I live in Montana. They get touchy about these things out there. All right, let's step aside. Let's get back to football because, dang it, that's what you guys want to hear. Springtime. We'll be right back after this Wake Up War Chant.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
What's up, everybody? I'm Aslan. He's Corey. This is Wake Up War Chant right here on ESPN 97.9 Tallahassee. Brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. Central, Township, Madison Social. Go ahead, check them out. Walk them legs over there after the spring game, after the spring practice. Chill out. Enjoy yourself. Tell them that Aslan and Corey sent you. I don't know what that'll do. Maybe something.
Probably. I'm sure it does a lot of things. Jack LaLanne, I was 100% right. He was 96 when he died, so I messed that one up. And he died of, I think, respiratory failure. So there's some fitness junkie, freak show guy that died on a jog.
Tony Little.
Is that who it was?
The guy who did the real weird jogging machine with the ponytail and the black
Did he
cap
die
always.
Doing exercise?
I think so. I can go to the answer machine in front of me here. Man, shout out to Jeff Cameron for doing a show. Actually, Tony Little's still alive. Sorry.
Well,
sorry, everybody.
Tony, don't go jogging anytime soon. Aslan saw something.
He's still alive. But no, shout out to Jeff, because Jeff does the show with no computer in front of him, man. I don't know how you guys do that. I need the computer, man.
Well, I got my phone. We all got computers in our pocket if we need them. But yeah, so apologies to Mr. LaLanne. You didn't die jogging, and you lived a great life. Apparently, you almost made it to 100.
It's all about drinking juices, man.
Yeah, man.
Juices.
Hey, staying in shape. It's a pretty good idea.
With the pulp. All right, some other news and notes involving basketball, transitioning to the women's side of things. Upset City over to Tucker last night.
Buffalo coming in here and putting up like 200 points in 2 games.
Chill out over there, Lady Buffaloes. 86-65 win. The 11th seed, Buffalo, takes down the Lady Noles. That brings Florida State season to an end. 1 game shy of the Sweet 16. They finished the year 26-7 on the year. Fire Coach Sue or bring her? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously plateaued. There's nothing else she can do for this program. I will say, that
was a joke.
Of course, yes. I would hope people would understand that. She's done wonders for this program. I would say that with that draw that they had kind of reached their obviously they wanted to beat Buffalo, and they didn't want to lose by 20 points at home. So getting to the Sweet 16 is nice. But what was awaiting them was South Carolina in the Sweet 16 game. And if they somehow got by South Carolina, that had knocked them out each of the last 2 years or 2 of the last 3 years, UConn. So they weren't getting to the Final Four. Obviously, you don't want to lose your last game at home, and that was disappointing. But their season stopped about a round short of where it was going to stop. Yeah. Still a good season, though. 26 wins. They're still, as Florida State the men are trying to become that perennial top 20 type team. The women are trying to become a top 4 team. They're real close. They just haven't gotten there yet.
Story of the game, obviously shooting because it is basketball. Buffalo, 27 of 30 from the line.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Florida State, 3 of 25 behind the arc.
Well, that's a good way to lose a game.
Yeah. I mean, Buffalo was legit, man. Buffalo made them uncomfortable the whole time. I watched actually a good part of that game before I went and got my workout in. I figured maybe if I stopped watching, the Lady Knowles would be able to rally back. But when I left, the doors kind of came.
That's the thing about the sport, man. It's not a great. You don't have to be a better team. I thought Leonard actually said it pretty well after the game. He said we're not necessarily better than Xavier, but we were better in the final 3 minutes. And they were much better in the final 3 minutes. And sometimes that's all you need in this sport.
Great minds think alike. That's a soundbite that Ira and I played while we were waiting to get you on the second
right.
segment.
Yeah, I thought that was a really
that was always the coolest thing
point.
when I'd work in TV and I'd go cover a game that was like on ESPN's radar, and I would watch ESPN do the highlights or whatever, and I'd see if they picked the same sort of soundbite out of like a 17-minute press conference, and I was like, yeah. Like when I picked the same, I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. Like I know what I'm doing now.
Man, those because you were there. Those press conferences are weird because if I hadn't have been there after the win, they wouldn't have been asked a question.
Were you pretty much the only person in there?
There were 5 questions asked in their post-game press conference. I asked 4 of them because everybody else was in the locker room because they opened them up at the same time.
Yeah.
And so, and quite honestly, I didn't know we could go in there right away. I don't even know if we would have been able to go in there right away for the celebration, or I would have been in there. But there literally was only one other person that asked the question, and all the Xavier media was in their locker room, so nobody was asking anybody anything in the press conference. So it's an odd setup.
It is.
But yeah, I thought Leonard made a really good point that they played better when it mattered. The final 3 minutes, they played really well.
That game, by the way, folks, that's Thursday. Sorry about that. 9:59. Add another pot of coffee out there on Thursday.
So really probably like 10-11. 10-20.
Yeah, could be.
Especially if the Michigan game is close. It'll start probably about 10-20.
Could be. That'll be fun times.
Man. So I like that they get I think the last time they were in the Sweet 16, they beat Notre Dame. Same type of situation. They beat them on a Sunday night and then didn't play again until the last game on Friday night. So they were the last Sweet 16 game. So they made the Elite 9. But I think it's probably better for them to play earlier. You know what I mean? Not an extra day of wait time. Just get out there and play.
Play on a Thursday as opposed to play on Friday.
Just play that first day instead of another day of waiting around.
I agree. I tried to ask them that after the Missouri game, but nobody really gave me anything, so it's probably a stupid question. But I was just, I mentioned to Ira yesterday. It just seemed like for the last month and a half, for like the last 45 days, Florida State never played 2 games in 1 week, it felt like. It was always, that crazy layoff before the NC State game, and then they kind of had a couple of games after that weren't too far spaced out. But then you go to Brooklyn, you go one and done in Brooklyn, and then you have to wait a whole entire week pretty much to then play over there in Nashville. But, yeah, I think maybe just keep this thing rolling right now. They seem to be healthy. Terrence Mann,
he looked pretty good.
Going Willis Reed out there, we're all burying the kid, and then he's like in the starting lineup. Or he wasn't in the starting lineup, but he was one of the first subs in there.
No, so. Brandon Allen was in the starting lineup.
Real, recognize real.
Yeah.
Speaking of, who's going to be the most striking person when they roll onto the field tomorrow for spring practice? Let's look past pro day. Who's going to go out there and is going to be like, wow? Who do you think is going to be like, wow? Look at that dude. Look at him now. Look what he's done for the last 4 months. He's gotten really good at this football thing.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know?
Maybe Aguayo. Apparently he's put on like 30 pounds. I want to see what that looks like.
I want to hear the foot hit the ball. I want to hear that boom. I want to hear that.
Yeah, because people don't know, he was like whatever he was, 190 on the last year's roster, and this year's roster he's like 226 or some craziness. So I want to see what's happening there.
He's clearly been playing a lot of golf because he was out there like, I don't know. I almost want to ask Willie, what was that all about? There was that pictures of them tripping inside the indoor practice facility.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
It's probably some sort of contest, like get them out of practice early or something like that. Yeah. If somebody can knock it through the uprights. But yeah, let's. Ricky went from 196 to 216.
Oh, so 20 pounds. But
he can play safety now. 6'2", 216. It's like
Derwin-esque.
Derwin-esque right there.
No lie. Probably not quite as athletic, but
Tamorion Terry, you want to go there?
That's a good one. I'd also like to see Laybourne. Again, I know they're not going to be tackled, but I want to see that guy's burst. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I said I wanted to see that guy's burst up close. So
spring football, baby, drink it in.
Trying.
Drink it in. It always goes out smooth. We're excited about it. We promise we're excited about it. I'm excited about it. I want to get out there and see what these guys look like. I want to see George Campbell hopefully run around.
That's another good one. But sure, the receivers are good, and that's a good one. That's a good place to go. And maybe look at what the linebackers can do.
We do need some linebackers, right?
Well, yeah.
We need some linebackers for sure. All the starters are gone. Roderick Hoskins not coming back for the 7th year.
Rodo's not walking through that door. Matthew Thomas isn't walking through that door. So, yeah, see how what the linebackers look like.
And I think they'll be all right. Raymond Woody, good coach, good guy, good head on his shoulders.
Okay.
Good unit. Figure something out. We'll figure out what to talk about in the final segment of the show when we come right back after this on ESPN 97.9 Tallahassee's Wake Up War Chant.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You know what time it is. Radio. Danger! Danger!
Welcome back, folks. I'm Aslan. He is Corey Clark. This is Wake Up War Chant, brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. 3 awesome locations over there in the College Town District. You know about them. Central Township and Madison Social, a.k.a. Madso, a.k.a. where the players dwell, a.k.a. come get you some city. All right. Spring football is here. Let's get right to it. Let's actually let's give you guys some juice. I'm trying to give you guys some juice. It's hard to give you juice, but, man, in the name of Jack LaLanne, I'm going to give you juice, dang it. All right, so the best segment on this entire team, I'm not going to ask you who it is because you have a brain. You're the smartest guy in the room in pretty much every room you go into, so it's going to be
Are you talking
linebackers.
To me? Were you talking to me just now?
Yeah.
Well, that was nice.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a little bit of sarcasm in there, though.
About the linebackers, yeah. Running backs. All
I
right, so
thought you meant about me being the smartest person in the room.
when it comes to Florida State sports,
History, knowledge, I feel pretty good about myself up there, yeah.
all right, so what's the second best segment, do you think, on this team going into spring? Right now, when you're taking stock of things. You're looking at the cupboard, you're Willie Taggart, you open up the cupboard.
Man, I think defensive line, you don't know what the backup situation is. But the starting 4, if you're looking at Kando, Burns, Christmas, and
Marvin Wilson.
yeah, big guy.
Who's going to be the best Marvin in Florida State history? Mark it down. Book it.
Yeah, man, that would be something because the other Marvin was incredible.
No, I'm kidding. Corey will die on that hill.
Yeah.
Marvin Jones is his dude.
Marvin
And that's the cusp of me not understanding football, but watching it a little bit, so I don't have a full appreciation for just how much of a warrior that guy was.
Yeah, and I know you didn't do this to have me tell a Marvin Jones story, but when he was inducted in the Florida State Hall of Fame, or he got his number retired, whatever it was a couple years ago, I wrote a column about him. And there was a game. It was the first game Florida State played in the ACC. The second, but it was at Clemson. Charlie Ward led them back in the final minute to win. Mm-hmm. But in that game, my dad, me and my buddy were up there, and we were 16 years old. We were at Death Valley, and my dad goes, "Hey, don't look at anything else on this play. Let's just all watch number 55." It was like a 3rd and 2 play. Just watch 55 and see what he does. And they ran a power, they were in the eye power, and they just gave it to the tailback. And my man just leaps over the lead blocker and tackles the guy, leaps over the offensive line and the lead blocker and tackles the guy for a yard loss in the backfield. And that was just happened to be the one time we decided to all watch him play. Yeah. Watch him. I mean, we knew he was awesome. It was his 3rd year. But my dad, really just fell in love with Marvin Jones the first time he ever saw him play. I think he led him in tackles the very first game as a freshman. But he was just a prodigy. He was just one of those unteachable, just incredible players.
He was born to play linebacker.
100%. And he had an okay NFL career.
I thought he had a really solid NFL career.
He got overshadowed by what Derek did, but also he got injured a lot. He was injured. He never was full strength. When he was fully healthy, he was a very good NFL linebacker. But I think that's kind of taken away how good he was in college, because he might genuinely be the best defensive player in Florida State history.
All right, so
but anyway,
that front four though.
I think that front four has a chance to be really good if it stays healthy. The starting 4, I think all 4 of those guys are NFL players. But you wonder about the backups, because you can't just go through. You're obviously not going through a season with just 4 defensive linemen. They're going to want to play a lot more of those, and I don't know who those guys are going to be. You know,
yeah,
there's a lot of people that are unproven behind those starting 4.
Absolutely, is there any?
And quite honestly, Marvin's not proven.
He's not,
but he's going to be good. You think, but he's not proven yet.
I mean, I can't think of any one single guy outside that starting 4 that you just mentioned that has. I think Janarius Robinson is the guy's name that pops to mind, but I'm pretty sure he redshirted. I know Gene mentioned on our spring previews on WarChant.com maybe Adam Torres, but I mean, he's George Campbell without ever seeing the field. At least George has been on the field a few times. I feel like Adam Torres has never been on the field. So you're at the point where you're thinking like these true freshmen are going to come in and make an impact, but they won't be here in spring. So,
But I do think if those guys, the starting 4, I think is. I mean, again, I don't know how many other positions groups Florida State has where you could look at all the starters and say that's probably an entire NFL worth of starters right there. But I think the defensive line is. I think Kando has a chance to be really good. He can do. Kando.
He can't. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
All right, tricky.
I mean, it's all right. I'm working on it. I think I can do better than that. But
do you wrap Cam Akers in bubble wrap if you're Dante Pimpleton or Willie Taggart?
If I'm Coach Pimp,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. He's not getting tackled. He's not getting tackled until Virginia Tech. In Corey Clark's world,
Coach Clark.
In Coach Clark, there's no. I don't even want you thudding him. Don't get near him.
I thought him a little bit because wasn't that the thing? Weren't we a lot? That's not
tackle the scout kids. I want the defensive players to work on tackling. I just don't want them tackling Cam Akers.
Well, weren't we? Or maybe I guess when it fleshed out that it was his shoulder. Like didn't Dalvin got off to a bad start the other year, right? Like Dalvin started off
last
slow.
year. He had a bad shoulder and he hadn't practiced much because the shoulder was bad.
And our whole thing was, well, they never hit him. Like he never hit him. Now he's gonna play.
I don't know about that. I just think his shoulder was he found his stride about game 4, game 5, but he wasn't this. That Ole Miss game wasn't the same Dalvin that we saw against Clemson in Florida. Just the burst wasn't there, number one, but also you could tell he was kind of protecting himself a little bit.
Give me your...
But he was having to pick up... That's another thing that you have to think about is Cam Akers, they're going to ask him to block a lot. And that's, just blocking can... That's, I think Dalvin might have injured his shoulder blocking in practice, which, again, I don't know. I get it, though. You got to get reps. You got to practice blocking. Maybe tell the defensive guys, they're all teammates, and I know they want to impress their coaches, but understand number three's your dog. That's the workhorse over there, man. You can't just blast him when he tries to practice. He's a dog. He's not a little pipsqueak.
I was trying to do DMX. Like DMX,
good, man.
I couldn't do it. DMX got more timbre to his voice there.
Man, remember you don't because they used to be there was one sole student when. Xavier Ratan-May's first year when he could actually play. Every time he touched the ball, X gonna give it to you, gonna give it to you, X gonna give it to you, which was cool the first couple times he did it. He did it literally every time he had the ball in his hands. And as a point guard, he must have said it 100 times a game.
Last question.
Okay, let's do it.
Give me your starting 5 on the offensive line moving left to right.
No.
Okay. Josh Ball. Landon Dickerson, left guard, center. I think it's gonna be Eberle.
Not Baselli. Yeah, it'll be Eberle.
Eberle.
Yeah.
Right tackle, Cole Minshew. Right tackle, Juwan Williams.
So right guard, you think has been you meant to say right guard Minshew?
Did I say right tackle twice?
Yeah.
I apologize. Right guard.
Yeah.
Cole Minshew. I know, Derek Kelly. I'll put Derek Kelly right tackle. I'll give him some seniority. I'm saying when they roll out there and do some sort of 11-on-11, if they do any sort of 11-on-11 in the first 2 days, I think that'll be the starting 5.
I'll be honest with you. Before you started mentioning names, if you'd have asked me to name a Florida State offensive lineman, I might have come up with 2. My mind isn't in football mode yet, man. That's what I'm saying. I got to get ready for it.
Do you know what pays the bills?
I know, man. That's what I'm saying. It was more of a cry for help. It wasn't something I'm proud of. But, yes, now that you said all those names, I recognize them. I realize they're Florida State athletes and they're going to be on the football field. I do think the right tackle position will be that'll be a battle that most of those spots, man, because none of these guys were recruited by Greg Fry. They might have been recruited by him, but he didn't sign any of them. So, again, like we've talked about with the quarterbacks, it's a clean slate. There's no, I know you said Derek Kelly with the seniority, and that might play into it a little bit, but I doubt it because he doesn't have seniority with Greg Fry. So Greg Fry, I mean, the slate's clean, and they're going to play who the 5 best guys are. If Eberle's not that guy, he's not that guy.
It's a new day, man.
It is a new day.
That's
you need
crazy.
to do something. Go do something, and whatever it was he said. Have a good day if you want to.
Please do all what he just said. That's
Please.
Corey.
Love you guys.
I'm Aslan.
I do. Love everyone. Wake up.
Wake
up. It's a work day.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch up with you tomorrow.
Darn pop-ups and video ads.
Are you wasting your time again on clickbait FSU updates that are bloated down with ads?
Yeah. And after crashing my computer, the information isn't even up to date. You're on warchant.com. What's really going on with the Seminoles?
For the real scoop, you'll need to get your own War Chant subscription.
What's it cost?
Free. There's a 30-day trial offer right now.
You know I like free. Sign me up.
Use the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Nobody has more accurate and timely information on the Noles than WARCHANT.com.
WARCHANT.com, your ultimate Seminole source.